Hi, everybody. Good evening. We're so excited that you joined us tonight. My name is Gail Schorsch, and I am the director of Bronx Eats. Bronx Eats is all about making healthy cooking and eating a community habit through hands-on food education. And I'm really thrilled to be partnering with plant-powered Metro New York this evening to bring you this series called Bronx Cooks Together, which has been demonstrating and featuring Bronx chefs for the past few weeks. So welcome and enjoy yourselves.
My name is Maribel Felipe, and I am a Latino community organizer for Plant Powered Metro New York. And so Plant Powered Metro New York promotes our collective health empowerment by educating about the power of whole food, plant-based nutrition. This is evidence-based approach to nutrition that can prevent, treat, and sometimes even reverse chronic illnesses, cancers, and more. Bronx Cooks Together will help to explore the delicious flavors of plant-based cuisine prepared by minimal processed ingredients to show you how fun, because cooking is fun, and easy to make health-promoting dishes at home with fresh ingredients.
We hope you'll repeat what you learn here this evening after class or later in the week. Share it with your friends, with your family. You're also free to try to cook along at home right now. If you got the ingredients and you would like to do that, please feel free to do that. We love that. And if you did not receive the recipes in advance, please use the chat option and let us know, and we'll get that to you. As we get started, please feel free to introduce yourself in the chat box, where you're from, what you hope to learn today. And as a reminder, please mute yourselves to minimize background noise throughout the program. We encourage you to ask questions through the chat box as the demonstration proceeds. Some of them we'll be able to answer in real time, and others we'll save until the end. This has really been a very fun part of this demo experience. So whatever questions you have, please don't feel shy. Put them in there and we'll try to get to all of them.
So let's get things started. I'm so excited and happy to actually introduce a beautiful show we have this evening for you guys. And we have the amazing Louise Noel. She's a personal chef instructor. She's also worked with the community cook for Coben Hill Food Product. She's also worked with the lab technician adjacent staff for the Kingsborough Community College. And she's also a consultant on nutritional, culinary, and wellness services for the Lantern Community Services. And we're so happy to have you with us this evening. And I'm going to pass it right on to you, Chef. You have the floor.
Hi, everyone. It's nice to be here. And I am happy today to open up my kitchen to you and show you two wonderful recipes that I conjure up for our class today. We are doing quick pickling. And guys, the word is in quick. So what that means is we can have it at a shorter time while we're preparing them. We can have it within hours after it's prepared, as well as into 3 weeks. That's how long, that's how quick you can have it. What we're doing today, the vegetables that we're using today, I like most of all to use the vegetables that's in season. Seasonal vegetables are one of the ways that we can get high peak nutrients and everything, minerals, and into our body. So some of the vegetables are more dense than the others, like carrots. I have carrots in the quick pickling, and we have some beans. And because, again, it's quick pickling, normally this can go into your quick pickling liquid, and it will come together like in 3 months or so. You will be ready to take one out and nibble on it. But because we're doing quick pickling, we want to blanch it, steam it for like 3 minutes, and blanch it in the cold water so we can preserve the color and shuck and stop the cooking, and then get the pickling on. So we're going to do that with the beans. We're going to steam that with the beans, the carrots, and guys, I have some Brussels sprouts. It's not peak season for Brussels sprouts. However, I still find some in the supermarket. When you go, you can find, if you find some and it's affordable, get a handful or two, because they're really great for your diet. and they're really nutritious and quick to prepare. So you really want to take the stem, the little stem off, and cut it in half. That should do. Or if you don't like it in half, you can cut it down again. But we're going to go with that for now. This here is my handy dandy steamer. Now, you can find this little tool in most supermarkets. However, if you don't have one, don't worry about it. You have your steaming pot here, a nice pot. You just put water. I started to get my steam on already, guys. So you just put water to cover the bottom of the pan because you're going to steam. And then you would put all of your vegetable on the top. The reason why I'm emphasizing on the water is because we don't want to boil the vegetables. We want to steam it. You want little contact with the water as possible because these beans and Brussels sprouts has the most vitamin C, and vitamin C is water soluble, so it's easy to leach into the water. So with a little water, you're steaming, you're not leaching the vegetables out into a whole pot of water and then throwing that pot of water down the drain. So always remember, a little water, even quarter cup of water to the bottom of the pan, get it boiling, and then you can steam that way. Turn the fire down low for 3 minutes max. You get a nice crunch on your vegetables. To get the Brussels sprouts on, we have carrot. I have one carrot, I cut it down the middle in half. And then the beans, I put it on the top so it has less contact with the water. And that's going to go for 3 minutes. I have my watch on, just time it, okay? Don't wait till you smell it because once you smell it, it has passed the threshold. It has probably gone for 5 minutes and that's when it's a little softer. It could be nice for toddlers, but it's too soft to pickle because then the hot liquid has to go on top of it and it makes it a little more, disintegrate a little more by the time you're ready to pull it out for your pickles, okay? So we're going here. While that's steaming, I want to talk about the rest of the vegetables that we can add to pickling. Guys, you can pickle most seasonal vegetable. We have the radish, the breakfast radish. 1 or 2 can go into your pickling. Our favorite pickler, cucumbers, right? If you're getting cucumbers in the farmer's market right now that has seeds in it, all you do is wash well, slice it in half, scoop the seeds out, and then cut it into the way you want to cut them into for your pickle jar. Another thing is our jar. You don't have to go out and buy pickling jars, guys. You can use any glass jar. You have mayo if you buy mayo, if you buy tomato sauce. This was actually a tomato sauce jar. And look at it, Mason on the top. So a Mason jar costs like maybe $2.99 this size. You don't have to go out and buy it. Save any jar, any glass jar that you have, save them in your cupboards for times like these. You get a lot of seasonal, you go to the farmer's market and you have a lot of vegetables in season. If you want to come back home and pickle some, you have your glass jar, handy dandy jars on hand. Okay, so we're at 2 minutes more. It's almost there. When your steaming is done, we would put them into our cold bath, right? What is that? A bowl filled with water with a few pieces of ice cubes, and let that sit there. What that does is shock the vegetables and stop it from cooking. It also brightens up the color if you're looking for that aesthetic in your pickling jar. Because I tell you, if you have your pickling jar and the vegetables are looking beautiful, you would want to go back into that jar over and over and over, as opposed to it's looking dark and dull and gray. All right, so think about these things. This is where the shocking comes in, and it's just only, remember, it's only the firmer vegetables, right? The firmer vegetables and the ones that you want to have a brighter color with. Okay, so we're here. I have my spotted spoon. I can pick my little steamer up because I have my steamer. If you don't have your steamer, remember, you can use your spotted spoon to scoop all of your vegetable out. You want to put it in, handle it gently. It will be a little hot. Put it in your ice water. Oh my gosh, I have to show you all this. Do you see colors? The colors of the rainbow, guys. We're eating the colors of the rainbow, okay? So this will stay there for maybe a little 5 minutes or less. All the cooking is gonna cease and stop. And while that's happening, let's talk about our pickling brining solution. So I'm gonna use the same pot. Just toss that out. And get our brining solution going because we just want a little boil on it. We have white vinegar. You can use vinegars that you like. Apple cider vinegar is beautiful. Rice wine vinegar is also lovely. The reason why I like to use this for this method is because it's quick and I don't really want to use up all of my apple cider vinegar or my rice wine vinegar because those are the more pricier vinegars. So I go just for my white vinegar. It's pretty inexpensive and affordable, and you can make your 2 or 3 jars out of one bottle. So you need 1 pot of vinegar in your pot, and you need 1 pot of water. Just plain water. 1 pot meaning if you're using 1 cup, you need the same amount of water. And you can double up your recipes if you really want to get into a couple jars of pickling and you have the excessive vegetables in your refrigerator, or you just came from the farmer's market and you have some vegetables that you want to pickle, you can double up the recipe. So always remember, 1 pot vinegar to the same 1 pot water. Okay, so you get that in. We're using some maple syrup, and it really has a depth of flavor. You use less of the maple syrup as opposed to when you're using sugar. Sugar, we usually sometimes brine with sugar. Sweet and salt are the components. Sweet, salt, and acid are the components for a brine. In this recipe, I like the flavor profile of the amber honey and the salt. It gives it a nice, richer taste, dill taste from the pickling liquid. So we're adding 2 teaspoons of maple syrup that goes in, and 1 teaspoon of salt, okay? And that's gonna come to a boil. When it comes to a boil, we would add our clove of garlic and our pickling spices. So let's talk about the pickling spices. So we're waiting for this to come to a boil, and that's gonna happen pretty soon. Our pickling spices, guys, if you don't have pickling spices lying around in your cabinet, you don't have to go out and buy pickling spices individually, or a bottle of it. It comes in a jar, it's called pickling spices. I have my little spice rack, so I go into my pantry and I just pick from my jars. For my pickling spice today, I am using coriander seeds, okay? Coriander seeds comes from the plant cilantro, okay? So those are coriander seeds. I have fennel seeds. I have a little mustard seeds. It's a little tinier circle than the coriander seeds. I have some cumin seeds, really nice. And I have a few black peppercorns. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 seeds. If you don't have it, guys, don't worry, because why? We have fresh herbs. Fresh herbs is also gonna give you a punch of flavor, all right? So you can also put that into your pickling jar, all right? We're doing both of them today because we have it. If you have it, if you don't have, this fresh herb that I have is dill. You don't have dill and you have parsley, go for it. If you have bay leaf, go for it. right? Use your imagination and your flavor palette, because that is what encourages us to eat more nutritiously and more healthy. Then the more flavor you can adopt into your dish is the more you're going to want to eat and go back to this dish and make more, and so on and so forth. Okay, so water is almost coming to a boil. I'm going to smash my garlic, because that way you have more potency of the garlic coming out, as opposed to if I put it in whole, it just stays there. I'm going to smash that. My pickling spices are going in. Okay. And let's put our vegetables. I'm going to get it out. It's draining. Get it out from the water. Get rid of that. And let's start packing them into our pickling jar. Okay, so you use your hands, get all your beans in, your carrots. You can layer it however you like. Doesn't matter, because your liquids are gonna go in there. Did I tell you that I had some snow peas that I found this week at the farmer's market, and I also put some in here. So you have snow peas, you have green beans, some cucumber slices, you have a radish. Oh, guys, the turnips are in season. Those little white baby turnips, really great in pickles. You can take one out when it's done, chop it up, put it on a hot dog, put it on a burger, put it on a veggie bun with some chickpeas. These are the things that you can take out and add to a fresh salad. You can add to any other dish. Chop them up finely, add it into a dill sauce. It's really, really, pickles are really, really efficient. Okay, and I'll get a sprig of herb in there. Stick it in, maybe this way.
Louise, can I interrupt you with a question?
Sure.
So some folks are asking, would you ever use a mortar and pestle to grind up the spices, the seeds, or you prefer to leave them whole? And is there a reason for that?
Yes, there is a reason for that. Because I leave them whole, because you are going to find those bits and pieces in your pickle when you're finished pickling them. And if you don't like to bite into a seed, or the flavor of the grits of the pieces is really strong, if you don't like that, then it's easier for you to leave it whole than to strain it off. I know that you're thinking perhaps if the flavors are coming out in the pickle if it's whole. Yes, it is, because they're seeds. If you crush it up, and according to the application of the process that you're doing for the dish, you can either crush it up for another dish, but the flavors are coming out from the liquid that's drawing it out as it boils. Okay, so I have a few onion rings, really delicious pickled onions. Gonna get that in there. Just two, because I have that space. And take a look at your pickle jar. Okay, those are the things you can find. Now, always remember this step, you want to be a little extra careful. So take your time and pour your pickling liquid in. Can you guys see that?
Yep.
Yes.
There you go. You just want to leave enough space from the rim, from the neck of the bottle to the rim. Put your lid on, and in 20 to 30 minutes, we can pull some of these out and try them. Look how pretty this is.
Beautiful.
Yeah, a whole jar of pickles. So let's sit this here, and we are about, that's the pickling portion completed. And now we're about to tackle our second recipe.
So Louise, can I just stop you for a minute and ask a few questions related to the pickling?
Definitely.
So somebody wanted to know if you can use dates, and maybe they meant date syrup, but dates instead of the maple syrup that you're using.
Okay, so if you were to use whole dates, you're not going to get the sweetness as much as date sugar or date syrup. So use the date syrup because the sweetness will come out better when it dissolves into the water, as opposed to using a whole date and it's just sitting there with all the fiber and everything and it's not coming out.
Right. And the next question is, can you explain a little bit about why pickling, a little bit of, you know, how it started and why it's healthy? What are the benefits of it?
Sure. So pickling started way back then in a form to preserve your vegetables. Like, you know, radishes are going to be out of season pretty soon. So why not we pickle some? And this was one of the ways people would preserve their vegetables to have it later in the winter season or the different seasons. And the longer your pickling stays, the more probiotics it acquire. So that's very good for your floral, your stomach, right? And that's one of the good things about using up pickling and fermented foods.
So what is the shelf life of pickled products? Like what you just made, when you put that in the fridge, how long can you keep it there and then enjoy it for?
I think up to 2 to 3 months is fine. I have had picklings, quick picklings, and it's never lasts that long because we go through it. One of the things I'm emphasizing on quick pickling is that the quick pickling is a way to use it fast, right? To give you that punch of flavor, to improve your appetite. Some people may be now transitioning into a different eating lifestyle, and they want things to boost their flavor profile, their palates. So this is one way to stimulate your palate, picklings. And another thing is also, I'm losing my train of thought. What was I saying?
You were just talking about how long it's going to last in the fridge. And
Right. So the quick pickling is one of the ways to do it. Use it quicker and faster. There are more elaborate pickling methods where you have to cook up the vegetables, sterilize the jars and the lids, and those are shelf life. They would last for up to 6 months to a year on the shelf. You don't even have to put it in the refrigerator. And those are the ones that takes a longer time to make. You cannot open it before a certain amount of time, before that curing has done. Stuff like kimchi, stuff like chow chows, other type of fermented picklings and fermented foods. You cannot open it before the time the pickling has developed. So this is one of my handy dandy ways to get your appetite on, to get your palate juices going, and to improve the flavors of your dishes. Yeah?
so somebody wanted to know if you could substitute garlic powder for fresh garlic.
Right. I think the garlic powder is another issue, just like the pieces and the sediments of the spices if you grind it in a mortar pestle. It's the same issue you're going to get with the garlic powder. And then it has a tendency, garlic powder, to get very clumpy and gelatinous. And you don't want that in your pickling liquids.
So stick with fresh garlic, it sounds like.
Yeah, fresh garlic is great. Yeah, I think if you don't have fresh garlic, you're pretty good, but you have all the other flavors going on. You have fresh herbs, you have your onions, don't substitute it for a powder. In this case, it's not most effective.
So we have another question about if you can pickle food other than vegetables. I'm not sure what the answer to that is.
you would be surprised, but there are certain cultures that pickle eggs, right? They pickle eggs. It's buried. It's like a delicacy. It's buried into the earth, and then they take it out at a certain amount of time. In the South, people pickle whole chicken, like they can it, whole chicken. They pickle protein. They pickle, but for the most part, vegetables are the easiest way to go.
Yes. Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome. Do I have any more questions on the pickles?
I'll ask one other one if that's okay.
Yeah.
For those, so some of the folks tuning in who are connected with Plant Powered Metro New York are eating a no salt diet. And
Right.
so there's a question of, can you pickle at all if you don't use any salt?
Right. So pickling requires salt for the curing method.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you may have to omit that from your diet. I'm about to prepare another dish in which I'm using less salt, and maybe you can go that way instead. I'm trying to think, because there are some products, there's a salt on the market that says no salt, and I'm not sure, I haven't done enough research on that to see how that affects the body with someone who is hypertension. It's salt, and I am not sure if I can recommend that way, but when you're pickling, you need something to cure and to penetrate the vegetables, and salt is one of the ways, along with the vinegar.
Great.
It's always up for experiments. You can try the vinegar only, use a more pungent vinegar or more assertive tasting vinegar like apple cider, or you can even combine it with some balsamic and see if you get that flavor of salt. But try experimenting and see how it comes out without the salt for your particular diet.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, we're moving into our second recipe, and we need to start. Our second recipe is called Hearty Potato and Asparagus Salad. And I'm using some new potatoes. These are the little red ones, right? And I'm using golden beets, again, seasonal items, okay? This is one of the things you can go get either at your farm share or the farmer's market, some supermarket like Whole Foods and Trader Joe's, and some local supermarket have these in bundles as a bunch. And they're in season now. So you definitely can utilize them in your diet. All right, and this is how I chop them. So you use a potato peeler, you cut this off, of course, wash it well, cut the stem off. And also, guys, remember, when you get your fresh beets in the market and it comes with its leaves, don't toss it away, okay? Those leaves are very edible. They're really delicious sauteed or steamed and very nice to eat, okay? So don't toss them away. Use them up as well. And this is your beet. You use a potato peeler and you just peel, and look how pretty that is under there, right? You just get that peeling. For the potatoes, I decided not to peel them because these skins are very thin. You're not really taking off much. But what I would really like you guys to focus on is scrubbing it well, right? Get your little brush, scrub them well, get rid of all of the little black eyes and make sure it's nice and clean like this. Then you cut this into 4, just like I did here. Cut it down in half, okay? Then cut it in half again, watch your hands. And then you can cut that into quarters. Now, what I'm showing here is very important because we're going to cook this in some vegetable stock, and we want all of them to cook at the same time. We're going to give it like 15 to 20 minutes to cook. So this is important. You can't have one piece like this and then another piece that's half of this. It's going to take, some of your potatoes will be cooked faster than some of the other root vegetables. And so you don't want that, because the longer the ones that's cooked first, waiting for the other one that's not cooked, they're going to start to fall apart and overcook. Okay, so do you want to put your potatoes in? I have 1 cup of stock, and I made this. It's the reason why it's this color is because I put some mushrooms in here, and it gives it this dark amber color. So I have a cup of it. Get it in your pot, okay? And this is going to come to a boil. When it comes to a boil, you lower the heat and let it simmer for 15 to 20 minutes. You can also test each one as you go along, because you want nice, tender, but not too soft. Okay.
Chef Noel, I'm sorry to interrupt. Can I ask you a question? What if you don't want to use potatoes and you wanted to use like a yam or something like that, or a yuca? Can you do that?
Yeah, I think you can definitely do a yuca. You have to steaming it, just the same process, but make sure, the only thing I implore you to do is make sure they're cut at the same size. So steam it in your vegetable stock. I like to cook it in vegetable stock as opposed to waters, because you're impacting flavor, right? You're impacting more flavor in your dish with a stock.
Thank you.
Questions? Okay, so let's continue on. What else is going into our salad? Asparagus, right? So I had some already chopped. Guys, we love asparagus, but I've been getting questions, and I've been having people turning away from asparagus because they're saying part of the asparagus is really hard to chew. And yes, part of the asparagus is inedible. That's the lower woodsy part of the asparagus. It has its natural bend. You see that where it breaks there? That's where it's going to be softer upwards. So if you have your bundle of asparagus, you just line them up together. Instead of doing one at a time, line them up together, and more than likely, you'll be cutting out all of the woodsy part in one swoop, okay? And so, just wanna cut the rest. And the asparagus is not going to go in right now. The asparagus is going to go in on the last 3 minutes of the potatoes beets boiling. Because again, this is a vitamin C rich. It's also less dense than the potatoes and the beets. So you really don't want to get this very soggy for your salad. You want to cook it where it still has a crunch to it, some crisp. The nutrients are still in there. So we're going to hold off on that. Let's just check the potatoes to see how it's coming up. Yep, the boil is coming up. You just want to make sure it boils and then put it on simmer and let that go for 15 to 20 minutes. In the time being, do I have any questions from anyone?
So I just have one question. I noticed that you chopped up your asparagus in advance of cooking it. So that's a technique that people may not be aware of, right? You're able to do that. You don't have to cook them whole and then cut them. You can cook them in advance.
Right. So we're making a salad, and you want everything to be bite-sized, right? So if you're grilling your asparagus, then that's a great way to grill it whole. That would be a great way to utilize your asparagus. If you're roasting them up in the oven, I like to do it whole sometimes, especially if I get the nice thicker ones. Those are really great whole. But for this salad, we want everything to be more or less the same size. So when you're eating it, it's not, too cumbersome for your salad likeness. Okay, guys, the rest of our ingredients that follows for our asparagus and potato and beet salad are cashews. We have some cashews. We have, I'm going to use half of a lemon. This here is my lemon zest. And how did I get my lemon zest and why did I get my lemon zest? I always like to talk about these little ingredients because these are the things that pack flavors, right? You are making something not the usual way that you're accustomed eating with a lot of salt, a lot of MSG. No, we're not doing that. So we want to impart flavor in every dish that we can possibly can, because that's what we have to eat. That's what we want to go back to. That's the lifestyle that we're entering to. So we want to make sure our food is yummy and delicious. The lemon zest has a punch of flavors. And how I get that is with my little microplane. And you just go into your microplane and you grate your lemon zest. Now, if you do not have this little tool, don't be dismayed. Your box grater, I don't have it out, I'm sorry, but your box grater, you can achieve the same thing. Just make sure you're not going grating like this. Make sure you're going lightly on your box grater, where you're just getting the yellow part or the green part, the green color of the lime or the yellow color of the lemon, because the white part under here is bitter and you don't want the bitter taste. You just want the zest and the citron oils that's right under of the skin. Okay, so that's one little tidbit for flavor. And I have a clove of garlic. I have some arugula, okay? Arugula, as we all know, has a nice punchy bitterness to it. And that's also impact flavors. So we're using some in the salad dressing to combine everything together. So let's start that salad dressing. We're going to blend everything up in my handy dandy blender. Okay. So you get your lemon zest in there, right? A lot of the times we have our limes and our lemons and you can squeeze it, right? Or you can roll it and squeeze it. Sometimes that's very good, but not all the time. Some people have enough strength to squeeze your limes and lemon. So I like using this little fork. You stick it in there and you get all that juice out because you're wiggling it. You're getting everything out. Okay? And that is how your lemon can be used. Every single thing. Okay, I like to use all parts of the fruits. This right here can still be used. You can put this in a pot of some boiling water and make a lemon tea, or you can use it for sanitizing areas that you're cleaning. It's every part of your vegetable should be able to use somehow or the other. Okay, so you get your lemon juice, and if you think you have seeds, you use the same fork and you collect everything from getting into your blender. Oh, I don't see anyone. Can everybody see me?
We're
Yes,
here.
we still see you.
Oh.
We're here.
Perfect. I went blank for a minute. Okay, so far the lemon zest and the juice is in here. We have our cashews, it's gonna go in. We have our arugula. All right, just roughly break it in. 1 cup, break it in. We have 2 teaspoons of Dijon mustard. Some people may like yellow mustard, go for it. Whatever you like, because this imparts flavors. Oh. Okay. And I would also like to put at least a 1/4 cup, or even just hold off from the 1/4 cup. So I have a 1/4 cup of water here. I'll just put half of that. Okay. so we can help the paste along. Bear with me, I'm going to be a little noisy. Oh, look at that. That's your salad dressing for your potatoes and beets and asparagus. I think it's perfect. I really think it's perfect. I don't need anything else. So I ask you guys to hold off on the quarter cup of water because you don't want it too runny. You want more of a paste, right? I'm going to use my tasting spoon and I would like to taste what's happening here. Guys, it's delicious. You have a really nice mouthfeel from the cashews. It's creamy, but not overwhelmingly heavy, right? It's delicious. Now, if you think you need a little pinch of salt when you taste it, go for it. But I think it's perfect as it is. That lemon juice gives it that flavor. It replaces salt flavors, you know. So if you're using lemon juice in place of salt, you're on the right path. Okay.
And Louise, it looks like you're getting your greens in by using the asparagus in the salad and also having the arugula in the dressing. So you're sort of getting double greens.
Exactly. You're getting an array of fresh vegetables and cooked vegetables. So you have your arugula blended up here, and it was fresh. It was just blended. Okay. Everything looks nicely. It's coming along. I am going to test one potatoes to see where I am. There's my spotted spoon right here. Just pick one up. One potato, one beet, just test. And it's almost there, guys. It went in, but it has a little resistance. So I'm gonna check my time. Same for the beets. Oh, just lost one. Same for the beets. Almost there. Almost there. Beet keep popping out.
And Louise, would you say that if you are short on time, you could chop the vegetables slightly smaller and then they would cook a little bit faster? Or
Yes,
so
definitely.
instead of chopping them in quarters, maybe you cut them in eighths?
Definitely. You definitely can, especially if you have younger kids and you really want them to pick them up. It's not too big for them to chew. Or if you have convalescents, older people in the house, you can definitely go for a finer chop, which is perfect. You have to remember though, keep an eye on it because it is going to cook within half of the time. Okay. Now, because the vegetables, I wanted to show you what's happening. Can anybody see this? Can we see? Right?
Yep.
You can see.
Yes.
So
Yes.
your liquids are being absorbed as the vegetable cooks. So once I test my potatoes again and it's really nice and soft, I'm going to put this in for the last 3 minutes. Then we scoop them out, get them onto a platter, and then bring the final touches for our dish, for our salad. I'm just gonna neaten up this area a little bit.
So Louise, all of the liquid that you put in to cook the beets and potatoes gets absorbed by the vegetables. You're not.
Most of it,
Yeah.
right? And I always encourage people, don't toss it away because you can definitely drink it as a snack, or you keep it in your refrigerator and use it in the following day to saute your vegetables in. If you're using less fat in your diet, you can saute with stock, right? Instead of oil, you start with liquids at the bottom of the pan, then put all of your lovely aromatic, your onions, your garlic, your fresh herbs, whatever you like, and then let that start simmering up. Then put your greens, like your greens, your spinach, your beet tops, and then that's how you can start cooking without a lot of fats and a lot of oils. Sauteing with liquid instead of oiled, right?
If people have questions, feel free to add them to the chat box and we'll get to them as we finish.
Sure. Right, I'm adding my asparagus. Once everything is has nicely come together, we're going to strain it off, drain it off. We have some chopped dill for the top, you can mix in. And don't forget our pickles. Let's start fishing a couple of them out and perhaps chopping them so you can sprinkle them on the top of your salad. So let's fish a couple of them out. It's definitely been 30 to 20 minutes. Take your time. This is going to be hot, but I'm just accustomed to the heat. So remember that this is still hot, so you want to be gentle. Okay, I'm going to fish out an onion. It smells so good, by the way, guys. The vegetables are just divine. I have one onion ring. I'm gonna get another one. See the colors? Can you see the colors? Right? Still nice and pink. Okay, the longer it sits, I've found that the vegetables leached into the liquid. So if you're doing candy beets or anything that has a little color in it, it definitely would leach out into the pickling liquid, but it's fine. It's not a problem. Let's get one cucumber. How about some beans? I'm gonna get a bean or two. Okay. Okay, let's check our asparagus. And I can tell from the color of it, it's ready to come out. So it went from bright green to just a little duller green. If you can see it, can you guys get a peek of that? Yeah? So you still have that little blush color on there. Just want to strain it out. Let this drain, just like so. I'm going to be saving. I'm going to show you. I have some asparagus that I want to. Okay, so you still have this amount of stock. You definitely can use that for vegetables, simmering vegetables. This nicely white. Our vegetables are nicely drained. Gonna get them in here. And if you have time, you can cool this down a little bit because this is a salad that you can have at room temperature. You can have it a little warmer, or you can also have it chilled, okay? Dressing. That's your dressing going in. just want to combine everything together. Gonna get ready for a photo op in our dish. You can either leave it in here or get it onto a lovely platter.
Is there anyone out there who's making this as Louise is making this, who wants to share their dish?
Get you a little bit of herb, sprinkle it on the top. And get your little pickles on there. And voila. Can you guys see that?
Beautiful.
Yeah, lower it a little bit so we can see the bottom of the dish.
Sure.
There we go.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah.
And you can use any of the pickled veggies that you want on top, right?
Yes, definitely. Definitely. Once your vegetables has cooled down, it's getting pretty cool. It's getting cooler and cooler. Once it has cooled down completely, this goes into the refrigerator. Within 2 days, it's more pickly and more tasty, right? It's tastier. You can definitely dive into it. You chop them up finely. Let's say I have this piece here. You get a really nice chop. Like that. And add it to anything. Add it to, you know, burgers, veggie burgers, or more salads. You can make an array of any salads you like. And add it to it.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
So Louise, I have one quick question, which is, can you use the dressing that you showed us for this recipe for other things? Can you put it on salads? Can you put it on other steamed vegetables? Can you kind of use that for a variety of purposes?
You definitely can, but one of the things you have to remember about salad dressings is your potatoes and your beets, they're nice and starchy. They have really great healthy starch in them. So you want a dressing that will make it, that would coat to it and make it more unctuous and delicious. As opposed to if you're having a salad that's like more like a garden salad or a green salad, something like this is not going to complement it the way you want. You may want more of a vinaigrette, more of a runny dressing than this. So keep that in mind. If you're doing this type of dressing, you want something that's hearty and solid for this type of vegetables.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Louise.
You are welcome.
So,
Well, thank you all so much for joining us. And thank you, Louise, for sharing your knowledge and recipes with us. We're really very grateful. Please feel free to sign up for Bronx Eats newsletters at bronxeats.org to stay connected to us. We'll be having more cooking demo series throughout the summer and featuring all Bronx-based chefs and cooks. And we also provide many resources to the Bronx community for surviving these challenging times and finding the resources that you need. And you can also email me directly to receive earlier newsletters or future newsletters, and I'll put my email in the chat box. Thank you again for joining us.
and I'm sorry I didn't introduce myself at the beginning, but I'm Leanna Levine-Reisner, the Network Director of Plant-Powered Metro New York. And I just wanted to mention that in addition to this series, we also present many online educational programs in both English and Spanish. We have a Spanish program coming up right now at 7 o'clock. And we invite you to check out our full events calendar on our website. at the link that I'm going to put in the chat box right now so you can see what's coming up. We've got another culinary demo on Sunday with our culinary educator, Chef Carol Levy, and a program later this month on racial health disparities and the role of nutrition policy and how we can really get at the heart of what is making COVID and many other and chronic diseases so widespread in communities of color. So I just want to thank everybody for joining us this evening, and Chef Louise for your wonderful talents, sharing them with both of our communities. It's really been a privilege. Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye, everyone.
Thank you and good night, everybody. Thanks again.
Good night.
Thank you.